Thank you for attending this conference today that's going to focus on crime in Odessa, crime stats. I'd like to recognize Sheriff Mike Griffis, District Attorney Bobby Bland, the City Manager Richard Morton, OPD Chief Timothy Burton, Brandon Griffin with the FBI, Assistant U.S. Attorney Bill Lewis, and Captain Jaime Ramos with DPS. Now I'd like to turn the time over to the City Manager.
Thank you, Steve. I'm Richard Morton. I'm your City Manager, and I'm really standing in for the Mayor of Odessa. He had intended to be here. He's at home with a medical emergency with a family member. I just want to thank the media today for coming out and covering this news. The news is good. The Part 1 crime rate in Odessa is down, and it is in thanks large part to this group behind me. They came together as a task force and created basically what we call our gun crime task force. So today you're going to get to hear from some of these gentlemen and ask questions of them. And with that, I'll hand it over. And I'm not sure who goes first.
Bill?
Yes. Okay. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Again, my name is Bill Lewis. I'm with the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Midland, Odessa Division. As the City Manager said, a little over a year ago, several people came together and decided that the numbers of violent crimes being committed in the Odessa area in Ector County were astonishing, that we needed to take a look at it and see what we could do to somewhat address the incidences where guns were being used, felons in possession of firearms were committing offenses, firearms in connection with drug trafficking offenses were occurring, and then incidences where people who were affiliated or associated with gangs were involved in gun crimes. And it was through this effort to try and do something for Ector County and make this a safer place that all of us came together, all the agencies, not just locals, but state agencies and federal agencies, to see what we could do to address it. And over the last year, the numbers reflect that those efforts have paid off. The violent crime numbers for Odessa and Ector County are down over this last year, and it's a testament to the efforts of the law enforcement agencies who have participated in this endeavor through putting together good cases, presenting cases that we could take federally or that are prosecuted on the state level, and taking these people off the streets, taking the guns off the streets, and making this community a safer place. Thank you.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Tim Burton. I'm the Chief of Police for the City of Odessa. And first of all, let me begin by thanking you all for coming here this afternoon. And also, let me thank all of the participating agencies that have assisted us this year in this task force effort. You know, this level of cooperation has been unprecedented, and the results are significant in terms of the reduction in violent crime here in the city of Odessa. This is the kind of work where a team effort and cooperation and coordination between the various agencies and prosecutorial agencies, the U.S. Attorney and the District Attorney, is paying off in terms of taking people off the street and putting them back in jail where they belong. By way of understanding the scope of this, let me say that there were a total of 103 cases that were dealt with by the Gun Task Force. In 78 of those cases, the individuals were charged federally. In 25 of those cases, they were charged with state charges. However, in all of those cases, these individuals were targeted for their violent behavior and their possession of firearms in the course of their violent behavior, and they were put back in jail where they belong. Now, this is the kind of thing that we hope to continue. This wasn't a single shot at a specific problem at a specific point in time, but rather this will be an ongoing level of cooperation that will exist between the agencies that you see before you in order to do our best to effectively suppress the level of violent crime that occurs here in the city of Odessa and here in Ector County. I'd like to thank all of the agencies and their representatives for the work that's been done so far and for future efforts. And in particular, I'd like to thank the men and women of all of the agencies involved for the work they do, because it's one thing for us to stand up here and speak to you and tell you about accomplishments that have been made. But please keep in mind, there are men and women that work day and night, every day, for the safety of our citizens here, and they're the ones that actually did the work. They're the ones that followed up on the cases. They're the ones that presented them to the lawyers at the prosecutor's office, and that resulted in these cases and the reduction in crime. Now, there are many variables that affect crime, affect both when it goes up and when it goes down. So you really have to consider a number of factors related to a reduction in crime. But certainly this effort was primary in having an immediate effect on violent gun crime here in this county of Ector and here in the city of Odessa. So thank you once again for coming out, and I'll turn it over to Bobby. Yes?
No, I'm good.
No? Sheriff?
Good afternoon. I'm honored to be here. I appreciate all of you showing up here today for this very worthwhile message. I'm a big believer in cooperation among agencies, and I hope we can all forge our relationships further and further and increase our cooperation and make this community of ours a safer place. I believe together we can get this done. I would like to ask that everybody keep those street officers, OPD patrol guys, our sheriff's office patrol guys, DPS troopers, all those guys that are on the street day in, day out, 24 hours a day, keeping us safe. There's no telling what they'll run into at any given time, and I ask for the community and everyone to pray for those individuals, and we appreciate your support. Thank you.
Anybody? No? I guess that's
Okay.
is that it for everybody? Ladies and gentlemen, I guess we'll entertain any questions that you have now from any of us up here.
Gentlemen, what do you feel that you are doing now that you weren't doing before?
Want me to take it? Okay. Well, I think that before there was informal cooperation always, and I think that we worked together very well. I think that sometimes, though, when you don't have structure to your cooperation, when you don't have clear coordination and understanding of what you're pursuing, sometimes you don't get as much focused work done as when you're cooperating and working together. What this task force effort did was it helped us to focus in on the problems that we were dealing with, and it helped us to identify and prioritize those issues and then to go after them in a way that was efficient and effective, both in terms of the resources we had to apply and the result of that application of resources in taking bad guys off the street. So to answer your question specifically, it was the idea of taking pre-existing cooperation, however, focusing it and organizing it in a coordinated way so that it might be more effective.
Well, how long did it set up the structure? How long did it take to set up the structure?
Oh, it took us, probably about 3 months from the time that we began talking about it until we began meeting, and then ultimately created a structure whereby we could handle violent gun crime in this fashion.
Well, how many weapons were seized during the entire effort?
172.
So I take it you're going to continue doing this. This is not a one-time deal. I guess this is ongoing.
Yes. The success of the effort has certainly encouraged us to continue the effort, and hopefully in the future to even expand upon it, perhaps in ways that we haven't even identified yet. So the effort will continue, and I think it will continue to be productive.
Any more questions? Okay, well, I think this concludes this conference. You guys are welcome to come up and interview anyone that you'd like to. We'd also like to give a big special thank you to the DEA. Unfortunately, they were unable to be here, but they've been a huge part of this success we've had. All right, thank you.